When you think of all your friends, family members, neighbors, colleagues, who comes to mind when you try to think of the most kind, most calm, most composed person? The person you're thinking of probably uses the next 10 things I'm going to talk about when that person talks. There are some simple things, vocabulary, and tones you can include in your speech to make yourself sound infinitely more attractive, pleasing, and memorable. It's basically trying to hit that sweet spot between being formal and friendly. Now, I have lived in India where people are extremely friendly to the point of not understanding boundaries and personal space. And I've also lived in US where personal space and formality and manners is everything. So in this video, I'm going to pick the best of both worlds and tell you 10 things you can do to speak beautifully. My name is Rai. I'm a former media presenter and director. On this channel, I talk about those things that help us communicate better and create our own personal brand. Number one, manners. Manners make our speech, our communication so much more beautiful. Now, sorries and thank yous do not come naturally in Indian vocabulary. We usually find it awkward to say sorries and thank yous to our family members. These are words usually reserved for emails to the principal, but kindly inform, thank you for your time, and all those things are not speech patterns we are used to. But in US, it's another world. One time I was waiting outside my daughter's school and I asked a parent, "Hey, how are you?" And she replied, "Thank you for asking. I'm fine, how are you?" So she didn't just say, "I'm fine, how are you?" She said, "Thank you for asking, I'm fine, how are you?" It's manners pro max. So even if sorries and thank yous are not so much a part of your culture, you can still bring manners into the equation. You know, someone serves you food, instead of saying thank you, you can just say, "Wow, that looks amazing." Someone passes you a glass of water, instead of saying thank you, you can say, "Oh my God, this is exactly what I needed. I was so parched." So if you don't want to say sorries and thank yous all the time, there are other ways of getting the job done, including knocking. Manners these days also include calling a person before suddenly dropping into their home. Those days of ringing the bell and surprising people are long gone. Another way to sound sweet and beautiful is to adjust your tone. Many of us have a harsher tone, so we speak with a harsher voice or we speak with a more nasal voice. So there are placements of your voice you can adjust and hit that spot where you sound the best. Especially I have noticed if you come from smaller towns, more open spaces, you tend to have either a more nasal tone or a more harsher tone because you're not used to closed settings all the time. So you're used to speaking out loud and use certain harsher tones of your voice. Another way you can greatly enhance your speech to sound more beautiful is to include some unusual adjectives. So instead of saying good, amazing, awesome, beautiful all the time, you can say a little more Shashi Tharoor-like words, which would probably include exquisite, unparalleled, ethereal. Write in the comments if you can think of some more. Same for negative words. Instead of saying bad and horrible and terrible, we can say other words like abysmal, deprecating, daunting. By the way, subscribe to this channel for more such communication tips. Next, another way to sound gorgeous and beautiful when talking is to modulate more. So instead of speaking in a monotone like da 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 da, you need to add some sing-song to it. Now, this sing-song part of modulation is done in many different ways. And if you want a more detailed video on that, I can definitely make one for you. Leave a comment. But in general, singing and reciting poetry can really make a difference. When I used to work in radio, I noticed that all the radio jockeys were great singers. This was not by design. Nobody was hiring from music schools. It just happened to be that way. So there is a definite connection between singing and modulating more. Another way that people will remember you as a beautiful speaker is if you gossip less and compliment more. So even when you're gossiping and talking about somebody behind their back, make sure you also take a moment to highlight their positives. We all need a little bit of gossip in our lives, and that's totally fine. That is what I mean by striking the right balance between being formal and friendly. And if you can hit that sweet spot where you maintain that balance, you're definitely going to come across as a beautiful speaker. Next on my list of how to speak more beautifully is one thing that all women say when you ask them, "What are you looking for in your life partner?" And invariably, somehow, the answer is sense of humor. Everybody loves a good laugh. But it's not easy for everyone to be humorous. I remember I used to work in this organization where on a regular basis, we used to order biryani from this place called Saima. Now, the speciality of Saima's biryani was that when the biryani arrived hot, steaming hot, it would be lovely. It would taste wonderful. But it was actually made with dalda, which is hydrogenated vegetable oil, which means within 15 minutes, as soon as it cooled down, this dalda would freeze and the whole biryani will turn into a cake. And I remember one time, one of the colleagues walking by just casually commented, "Oh, there you are. You ordered that biryani again, the biryani with a timer." The moment he said biryani with a timer, we all cracked up. Until this day, when I order biryani from some unknown place, I just pray and hope that it is not biryani with a timer. Let me know in the comments if you ever had biryani with a timer, or if you want more communication tips, in which case you can subscribe to my channel.